For this collaborative challenge, I've decided to make the three kings that are famous in Spain for King's Day, and obviously in all Christian tradition for bringing the presents to the baby Jesus. This seems a strange choice for me because I'm actually an atheist, but I do have a love of traditions and legends and myths. So this is a nice, simple idea that can be played around with with children as well. So if you're playing with children, if you're making it with children, I would suggest that you go up a size from these miniatures, because I'm making it on a base of a little piping nozzle. In this case, I think I might make his robe pleated, but I also might make it trail out at the back. So I'm going to just gently manipulate this and pull it so that it's a little bit longer. Got to be careful because otherwise it'll split. But I think I'll have his trailing out behind him, because I'm going to do Melchior's, the red one, quite narrow on the body, and Balthazar's, I'm going to have 2 layers. So this one I think I'll make it quite dramatic, quite pleated. And then to get a pleat, you need to lift the bit between the last pleat up, and then just press it down. And then this bit, just press it down, lift the next bit up, press it down when you've got a pleat. I think this colour is called peacock blue, it's quite dramatic. Okay, so that's a trailing out dress part of the outfit. And I also need some sleeves, and I want to make them quite ballooned really. So I'm going to find my blade, which I should put down somewhere. A butter knife. This is what I advise to use if you're making things with kids. And remember to start to bring these arms forward so that you will have somewhere to put the gift. And his hands are going to go into the sleeves. So you've got to keep a hole in the sleeves. And looking at the size of the body should give you an idea how big the head wants to be, but it's around the size of a small pea. So you just need to make a round pea shape, but then we need to put it on a cocktail stick so we can work on it. And I've found that if you put a little bit of liquid Fimo, and there's enough just hanging around the top of my liquid Fimo bottle on there, just helps it to stay on, makes it a little bit stickier. So I'll push it on, I'll put the pointy end in first. That'll just help me. You should be able to do almost all of these little tasks if you work bigger with children as well. Just replace any single-sided blades with butter knives. I use a butter knife for all sorts of things. So I'm just putting a little bit of a neck on this, but this may be cut off later, but it does help to keep it on, and it provides a bit of a support for any beards and things. That's my little head shape. And I don't want to make these too complex. It's up to you if you want to make them have more features, etc. But I just want to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm going to put a tiny little nose on and 2 eyes. So I want to give him a slightly curly beard. So just take your material. I've made a little snake, and I'm just going to wrap it round the pin. Break it off and leave it. and do several of these, because if you try and do one at a time and then put them on one at a time, it gets very messy, and also you can squash the ones that you've already done. So you're better off really doing a few bits first and then putting them on. I did a printout of some drawings of Balthazar, Gaspar and Melchior. So what I did was I took a moderately thick piece of gold clay and just one of these cutters. Now I think this is in the Makins clay range, quite easy to get hold of. It's just like 3, 6, 7 pointed star. Just happens to be the right size, and then cut a hole in the middle of it like that. So you've got a crown there, and then all you need is the little ball in the middle. But if you find it difficult to get round, just cut your cocktail stick in half so it's got more of so it's narrower. So that's that, and actually he looks very nice. The only thing is that his hand fell out, but when we give him his frankincense, I can glue that hand back in again. Just cut a piece of gold and simply powder it with gold powder. And for frankincense, I think we just want a sort of jar shape, and it doesn't have to be anything special. Now we're on to Balthazar's headdress. Right, what you need here then is a roll of purple and a roll of gold. So now I've got a little piece of the two colours twisted. They will join together to make a circlet. I'll just put this over here so I get my circle. And this is a very, very fine piece of clay, gold clay of course. And I'm just stretching that because I want to fold it. So I want it really fine and to look as if it's really folded up. And then I'm just going to sort of fan fold it a little bit. Pleat it really. So the first thing I want to do is cover that in gold. And then once again there's that little ball bit, so I need to do that as well. The centre of the crown part. So here's his head. Once again he needs a little bit of liquid Fimo to make sure that it sticks properly. Yeah, that's too big. So what I'll do is I'll put this bit on first and colour it gold, of course. I've made this one slightly pointed. This needs just lifting from the tile, and it needs to tug under the edge here and curl underneath his chin and over his back. So the only way to finish this one really is pop it onto the model. You need some gluing for it. Not Father Christmas, it's Melchior. He's very much like Father Christmas to look at. I'll just take off some of his neck because it's a little bit too long. So he also wants a little crown, an ordinary looking crown.